Hello everyone, welcome here to What's New in SmartThings session here. So Ted and I gonna walk you through a couple of new components in SmartThings Platform, as well give you a couple of demos, and we're gonna have Jim and Vinay coming up here as well. So Magnus Ekenheim, leading part of the engineering team at SmartThings, focusing on the Works with SmartThings program.
And I'm Ted Simonides, lead the part of the product management team. Also working on the Works with SmartThings program, which we're going to talk about some today. So looking forward to it.
Cool. Okay, let's kick it off. I'll stay away from the red button as well, Jim.
Oh wait, let's ask who's a developer.
Oh yeah, you can.
So one of the questions the last session was about SmartThings 101, and there were a few interesting questions that folks asked that maybe were developers. I'm just curious, from a show of hands, how many of you are developers who have built something for the SmartThings system already? Okay, so maybe about 30%. Oh, the developers from SmartThings. Oh, that's another. You're a separate group. Oh, the big one. This guy. Okay. Not press Jim's scary button.
Oh, and then back up a little bit.
Don't look at that. Don't look at that. Or that, but this.
Okay. So yeah, so Sarah and Jim did a little bit of recap here, but short, the SmartThings ecosystem is really built about a couple of components. So one obvious is the devices area. So we have three different types of integrations. We have what we call the cloud-connected devices. Could be, for example, like a LifeX bulb, Ecobee thermostat, that they have their device cloud. And then they're integrating to us and then becoming available to the entire SmartThings ecosystem. We have the hub-connected devices, connecting through the hub, for example, Zigbee Z-Wave devices. And then the third category is what we call the directly connected devices. Those are ones you develop with SmartThings Device Kit. So that's what we're using internally. For example, some of our Samsung devices, for example, like the TVs, robot vacuums, washers, they are connecting directly up to SmartThings Cloud, and SmartThings Cloud is true backend on those devices. So that's the device category. Once they are integrated, and then are available to Bixby, voice control, to the SmartThings application, and then as a developer, then what Sarah explained through a capability model, you can using them from automations and from services. So we're going to give you a couple examples of that use cases and some scenarios here.
Okay, so we're switching back and forth between the cool Swedish accent and just the American accent here. But one of the key components of the SmartThings ecosystem is the SmartThings application, and I think you've heard about it at the keynote. Sarah and Jim talked about it a little bit beforehand, but really this is the fundamental core of the ability to install devices, control devices, set up automations for your devices within the home, and really be able to have generalized kind of control around that. And this can be a great opportunity for you as developers, because as of right now, the SmartThings application is installed on all Galaxy handsets that go out there now. It's also being recommended with any devices that you, televisions, appliances that you buy, as a way to set up those devices and configure them and use them. So we've got at this point about 190 million installs around the world in around 200 markets. So there's a lot of people already using SmartThings and have the device out there. There are 4,000 different devices that are actually connected on that through the SmartThings Cloud, which was the center of the ecosystem that Magnus was talking about before. So this is a great opportunity as we go forward and roll things out, not only in the US where we started, but globally, to be able to take advantage of the app and the distribution of that. And maybe to take that a little bit further, so as we build out having the hubs available and other devices along with the app that are available in markets across the world. North America is really where we started a lot of this stuff. That's where SmartThings began. But as we go forward over time, you can see in the blue regions that show up there that we've got more distribution of the entire ecosystem of products that come from in retail stores. But we've also got key partners like Vodafone, America Mobile, and Singtel, who are also rolling out services and their own solutions around SmartThings. So it's a great way to be able to take advantage of growth that's happening on a worldwide basis. We'll see China will be launching shortly, early in 2019. But all the other countries you can see in the flags on the bottom there are places where you would see the product either in retail or available through one of the carrier partners. I'm going to let Magnus tell you a little bit about the services that Vodafone provides.
Yeah. So this is something Jehan spoke a little bit in the keynote this morning. So earlier this year, Vodafone launched a service there, vHome by Vodafone. So it's a service there powered by SmartThings. I'm going to walk you through a little bit. So starting with the mesh router with the SmartThings hub inside. So that's the core of it. You have the SmartThings camera, a siren, and sensor. So there they're starting with a starter kit building on a home security solution. So the devices are being set up and configured in a Vodafone extended version of SmartThings application. There, with this kit, then you can do home monitoring. You do, with the camera, you get 14 days of cloud storage for Eclipse. You can detect, for example, intrusion, if there's motion, open, close, something like that. Utilizing Vodafone network components to get 24/7 alarm assistant and as well notify your contact. And then start building home automations based on this one. Comes with some starter kit, but then extended with, as you see in the bottom there, that works with SmartThings devices. So devices that we're taking into developers like you integrate with us, certify. Of course, there's a great opportunity then to get both global scale and, of course, a lot of visibility to drive traffic to you to be part of this. Another example is, you can see it here on the show floor, the Maserati out there, what we call a connected car. So they're utilizing two components, SmartThings Cloud Connector and then the API apps. So two things really happen here, right? So one is the nice little icon there, car is a thing. So by doing a cloud integration here, the car in this case become a device in SmartThings ecosystem. So you can start things like remotely, start preconditioning, see the battery level, are the doors open? So you do a device integration. The other component is using the API apps. Well, what Jim spoke about in the previous session is they can read device status and control them from their dashboard. So two components. You can see the car in SmartThings client, on the TV, on the mobile, on the fridge. And the other one, you can see all SmartThings devices from your home, safely control them from the car dashboard. So two pieces there, and that's building up the connected car experience. Another example is the partnership we have done for SmartThings Wi-Fi together with Plume. So, of course, that one it's an optimized mesh router, but from the SmartThings component as well, what they're utilizing is something Vinay is going to come up and show a little bit later. We've been prototyping here, but right now they do a cloud integration as well. So they integrate as a cloud to cloud, so from the Plume to SmartThings integrate. So that means my devices, for example, I have my kid's iPad at home or my wife's phone, could be some different brand, can suddenly work as a presence detector. When it joins the network, I can run my personal scenes. So kind of start some favorite settings you want at home. I can, from SmartThings client, disable traffic, for example, through automations. When I'm home, stop all traffic to my network cameras. That feels better for me. I have better privacy. When I'm home, this somehow detected with all our sensors, just block all traffic to the cameras as one extra layer. And one of my favorites, kind of disable internet kids easy with an easy automation. At 8 o'clock, freeze all the traffic to my kids' devices. So when we did this, when we're playing around a little bit home, I've been running for a while, a little bit geeky, but it's fun. I have kind of a scene. So there was one to be configuring multiple actions. So I have a dinner scene, adjusting the light in the kitchen, maybe adjusting the volume of the music as well, turning off the TV, blinking a little light in my kids' bedroom, time to go up, and it's freezing all the internet traffic. So that's for all the iPads or whatever I have at home, the tablets. It's a great chance to show up for dinner and stay there for a while. So that is a really good use case.
Do you have control over your kids with that as well, maybe? No. So, Vinay and Jim, we've got guest speakers. We wanted to bring more accents and voices onto the screen. So,
yeah.
Vinay is going to tell you a little bit about the SmartThings Cloud Connector.
Yeah. So we'll start at, Jim, you met in the previous session, or maybe you want to introduce, we have some new members, so you can introduce yourself.
So my name is Jim Anderson, engineering manager at SmartThings. Been with the platform, or with SmartThings for about 4 years. So I've kind of come along and evolved with the platform as well, and I'm excited to be here and see many of you again. Vinay?
I'm Vinay Rao. I'm the engineering manager for cloud connected devices at SmartThings. My team looks at cloud connected device integrations, and that's what I want to present right now. So what we've done for this year, voice cut out?
You're good.
Okay. What we've done for this year is we've optimized how the cloud connector is built for all our partners. So we could go to the next slide to share.
You're there.
Okay. Yeah. So what we've seen with more and more partners trying to integrate with whether it's the SmartThings platform or the Alexa, Google platform, is that at the end of the day, all you're doing is JSON transformation from your cloud to whatever cloud you're trying to integrate to. And the industry standard has basically settled around a 3-request model: discovery of the user devices, getting the state of the user devices, and controlling the user devices. So what we figured out is if we made that piece easier for partners to write, that would take away all the cruft that you have to write around it to add to a platform, basically taking away the platform's complexity, and all you remain with is your business logic. Right now, there's some code around you're mapping it from your capability model to ours, and we're trying to figure out how to simplify it. But as far as this code is there, we've got a working LifeX integration right now. It's about 80 lines of code. We'll talk more about this in the next session here at 2:30. So if you stay back, I can talk more about this. And the biggest advantage is, in this case, about 80 lines of code, and you get all the voice integrations, Bixby, and the other platforms that we support, and all the automations and services that we support as just some basic code. Thank you.
So if you were here at the 101 session, you heard us allude to these API apps, and Magnus talked about them in the context of the connected car out there. So this is something that SmartThings is really excited about, and personally, I'm very excited about as well. It really fills out that bottom part of the platform picture, where we have services that are interacting with the API. It's really a way to extend, the reach of SmartThings beyond the mobile phone and into other places to reach that mass consumer audience. So some information about the feature before we go into a live demo. It's a very standard REST-based API interaction with an OAuth 2 flow, right? We fill out what kind of permissions we need, the user authorizes that, and the developer gets back a token that they can then interact with the APIs. Common use cases are controlling devices, getting device state, and scenes as well. And then the other thing that we can do is get informed in these apps when something changes in the platform. Because often we're going to want to know if there's a UX display, for example, you see on the right, we want to be reflecting the current state of the platform. So these key use cases are, these dashboard displays, in-car displays, even embedded devices, displays, voice, bots. There's a lot of interesting use cases that can come out of this feature. And this is available as of today to sign up for. So if you go to the developer portal, you will find a link there. The link might not be live for another hour or two to check, but it should be live very soon to go sign up and start working with us. So that said, we're going to really tempt fate with a live demo here, including actual devices, of course in production, and using this device. So I'm going to just try to hook it up. There's a TV over there.
Exit the demo mode maybe on the
It's okay.
I think.
Okay.
While this is going, I'll just. And so what we're going to show is an alternative client view that we've written to demonstrate how these apps are going to interact, go through the auth flow, and then actually receive these events.
Yeah, it takes it.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so you see on the, don't lock the phone. On the bottom of the mobile display we have, several apps set up to this account. And you see on the TV over there, it's okay, it's a little small, but point being that's another form of display. And then we're going to switch to my computer here.
And before everyone get it, so SmartThings client just running here, the mobile, the TV dashboard that was mentioned as well. That's one, all connected the same, and then you will have the third here.
Yep, those are all talking to the SmartThings cloud. So this is a web view application that we wrote to demonstrate this. And it's a little small here, but the point here is that we're going to actually the end user will be required to authorize permission. This is asking, hey, this app wants to do things to your devices. Are you OK with that? And because we are, we're going to click Authorize. And then we're going to show a web view of all the devices in this person's location. Keep your eye on the top 3 on the left. These are the ones in this SDC room. And we're going to control these map to these. So I'm going to turn on this bulb named LifeX here. And we should see it turn on. And we should see, because we're all through the SmartThings cloud, that it's going to turn on in the displays over there. And then the same way, if we actually turn on in the mobile app, we should see that SmartThings Outlet Gen 3 turn on up there. And that's that event delivery.
Jim, yes. There's plenty of seats from here. If you guys standing back there, you can join us in front here.
So this is one use case, that dashboard display. And so what we're actually going to do is just close it out with another kind of use case, which is like a bot integration. It doesn't have to be in a UI. So if I zoom a little bit, and this is another sample app that we've created. And we're just going to say turn off demo, and we've just created a way to kind of aggregate this. And they all turned off. With that, we'll hand it back to you guys, and we'll carry on.
So I think,
Thank you.
So what Jim just showed here, of course, something there for you as a developer. You setting up, just to recap, but if you're setting up the devices, you're adding devices in SmartThings Client, then from your context, if it's your application, your dashboard, whatever it's auth in, and then you can control all devices, scenes, modes, and other ones from this one. So very useful for you to start creating new experiences. You want to have you play around and sign up to use.
I hate that thing so bad.
So for a third category here, I mentioned a bit in the keynote today, we are launching what we call SmartThings Device Kit. So this is for developer you of creating new IoT devices. So a complete solution here. So if you're building we want you to focus and create the best possible experience in your IoT device. It has everything you need there really to get started with it. It has built-in solutions to handle for you to build secure solutions. You got a built-in functionality to do easy device discovery and easy device onboarding. You don't really have to care about Wi-Fi onboarding or those pieces. You just cover it all in. And it's all powered by SmartThings Cloud. So you don't really need to use your own or build some old cloud infrastructure to manage your cloud service. Just use SmartThings Cloud, and it's free. There's no additional usage fee. So use that one. And once you have it and integrated your device, we take you through certification. Then it's then available to all automation services, Bixby as well by default. There's no extra work needed. Just create it, integrate it, and then you get fully integrated whole SmartThings ecosystem. So as currently right now, you have a couple of options here for SmartThings Device Kit. And this is something we will extend to add more providers and solutions. But right now, you can use it, and there's an Arctic chip with 2 combinations there with Tizen and Tizen RT. There's an optimized version of the Tizen platform. And then you have the Broadlink for free RTOS. So these are the options here. There is a session tomorrow, deep dive into this one, going through a little more what is the hardware capabilities of each chip, the steps you need to take, what's the development flow, certification flow, etc. So there's one deep dive in that tomorrow afternoon.
So the next thing we're going to talk a little bit about is the importance that we put in the certification process to make sure all devices work well within the ecosystem. We call this the Works with SmartThings program. And the program's designed, as you can see in the highlight there, to be able to take all these various devices that you as developers may have made in the ecosystem and try to make sure that we can assure that that's going to be a high quality experience for consumers when they're using your products. So the program really is designed to make sure that we're not only making sure these devices work. Every time we work with a partner who says, okay, now I'd like to be able to launch the product, then we'll get versions of those devices, take them to our certification centers, and test it within the ecosystem of SmartThings products and others as well, just to make sure that the experience is as expected, that the security is there, and generally speaking, consumers will have a positive experience with that. We have teams that are situated around the world who do this certification. So based upon where the company might be located. We'll choose one that's kind of closer to their location in doing that. But that's a process where we'll share on the developer workspace that's been mentioned several times, all the testing things that you would go through, so you, in effect, know the answers to the test, and make sure you go through the testing process, then provide it to us to finally certify that and make sure things work well for the consumer. When you get the Works with SmartThings certification, that will then give you the right to include that logo, as you can see here in the lower left of the screen, on your packaging, on website, collateral. It'll also show up eventually in the app on the information card for your product. So when someone's using it, there's that reminder constantly that your product is a certified product that works well within our ecosystem. And it's really about building that confidence for a consumer. I don't know about any of you, but when you go out to a store these days, you don't really know if you're buying a smart device, if it's going to be working within the ecosystem or not. Generally speaking, SmartThings has had a great following for this, but it's going to be important going forward that people have that confidence level and know that. So Magnus in the keynote mentioned that we've upgraded the program, and those of you who have been developers know that Works with SmartThings has been around and the certification process has been. But one of the things that we've heard from developers is it would be great if I had a way to maybe a little bit more quickly get our product up and running on the SmartThings platform. And so we still have the certification program where you do the self-testing and review, and then we certify, and then ultimately you publish the product and it shows up in the SmartThings application. That's all the certification, if you will, the gold standard program that we have. But the new capability that we're announcing here at SDC is SmartThings compatible, and it's a new way for us to really address making it easier to put in your hands the ability to develop the connectivity, to do the testing that's required, and then share with us kind of the results of that so that we can approve looks good, and then enable that to be very quickly approved. Basically, if you go through this process, you do the testing and development, submit that product to review for us, then usually within 48 hours, we'll say, okay, this appears to work or not, hopefully not. You've already done the testing with that. And then we can publish that in the SmartThings app. So the difference really between the two programs is the top one is that full certification there where we test it out. We've actually received the product from you and done the testing. The compatible program is one that you'll be doing the testing on, can be done a little more quickly. We won't provide the logo and whatnot. There'll be wording that you can use for that, but it's a quick way to get up and running on the platform. Maybe you're working on a device that's launching relatively quickly and you want to be able to make that available from within the SmartThings app. That might be the way to go, and then you could come back and pursue the full certification later in order to take advantage of the marketing benefits that come with the logo and things like that. So that's the Works with SmartThings program. The last thing that we really wanted to talk about, and again, if you were in the previous session with Sarah and Jim, we're talking about the fact that we're launching all new tools, new documentation in the developer workspace, so that you can go out there and develop devices that would work on the platform. And it's available, I believe we pushed things this morning, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
For the workspace. So from that, you can create new devices and automations, as we were talking about in the previous session. You can make sure that through that, it gives you all the information you need to know how to register for Works with SmartThings certification or the compatible certification. And in the compatible program, and I forgot to mention this a moment ago, we've been, Vinay, who was up here talking about it earlier, and we'll be talking about it in more detail in the next session, has been working with several partners. I think Lifex, August, Sengold, and TP-Link. So we've been working on that as a preparation for launching this, which will be coming up in very imminent future. Not today, unfortunately, but in the very near future, we'll make these available, and you should be able to do that development and participate in bringing those online in the compatible program, as we expect these folks will be. Other points, certainly on the workspace, you've got live logging tools to do the debugging while you're developing the tool, and a virtual device emulator, so you can actually see without having to run on the device while you're doing development how things are running and the control capabilities within the platform. So I think that's it for all the topics on what's new in SmartThings. We're at the point where if you have any questions, we're certainly open to taking those. There's one up in the front over here. So we're going to wait, so you'll get the microphone. So.
For the cloud connections, oh, sorry, there was a big line there that said it was free. Where's your monetization coming in? Nothing's free without, right, a catch?
Yeah. No, architects. Yeah, so the free one is really for, that's what we do for the device makers that do it for the device kit. So yeah, we don't comment on our business strategy here, but it's of course being part. But one, we always foresee there's going to be a free tier for our developers. But if you really go into, we might have later in the future paid tiers for heavy usage of the platform. But for the device makers, it will be free. But then I'll leave it there. Kind of monetization strategies we have more coming up later in the portfolio and roadmap. But we don't comment on the future features here and then. We'll do this.
Other questions?
Yeah, do you have any integration with Node on your OAuth solution, like possibly an example using Passport?
Yeah, you want to take Node? If you have any Node integration.
Can you mic Jim?
Yeah,
Were you referring to the example that I did with the Node or with the app? I've got the mic now.
yeah, so I was specifically referring to the example, but you didn't show how you did it. And I'm
Right,
wondering if you
right.
have a Node
So,
integration.
yeah, so that example is actually written in, it's a Vue.js app, and the source code may be available to partners who sign up into the system. The Node Passport example is another good one to have. That's not what it uses, but that would be one possible way to do it too.
Jim, in the API example that you showed,
Join us, Jim. Come on up. Yeah, we have a full set of people. Come on.
I understand the REST API to get device status and list capabilities, et cetera. How is the cloud communicating back via the API? Is that via a webhook or some kind
Very
of
good question.
socket?
So that's actually using the server sent events, if you're familiar with that W3C spec. It's basically a unidirectional pushing of data to a socket for that client. Super, super, like a nice way to do it for a one-to-one, like a web client, and that's why we use that. Webhook subscriptions, which would be something that's more applicable if you want to have a server and you want to have all those subscriptions coming into one place. That's something that's on the roadmap for those OAuth-in apps or those API-only apps.
Great. Any other questions?
No more questions?
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess I just want to reiterate the next session that's going to be coming after us will be Vinay's going to be coming up to talk a little bit about the building the cloud connectors, and that's the ST Schema program that we're having available, and that's going to be one of the first offerings we'll have that will allow you to do your own testing and to be able to do that SmartThings compatible method really quickly to be able to be approved and on board for the platform. So we encourage you to join that.
Yeah, so really one, if you have your own cloud-connected device, really take a look at that one. You'll show very few lines of code. You get it full access to the entire SmartThings ecosystem, all from voice, services, and those ones being part of the OAuth-in, et cetera. So take a look at that one. Vinay coming up here, Vinay and Bob. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.